Hello and welcome to Spiral Out Podcast. I'm your host, Chris West. So you're currently listening to a stunning rendition of Morton Subotnick's Sidewinder. This performance was recorded at Tool Studio in Hollywood, California, and was released on April 23rd in celebration of Subotnick's 90th birthday. On the show today, we have Peter Grenader. He's joining us to discuss the performance and the incredible legacy of Morton Subotnick. Subotnick was not only a composer, but also a pioneer in the field of electronic music. Those who have listened to the show before know Peter as Danny Carey's synth tech, but he also is more than that. He's a very talented musician and technician himself. Throughout the show, in the background of the interview, I will be playing Peter and Friends' rendition of Sidewinder. And if you would like to hear both versions, Peter's Sidewinder and Morton's Sidewinder, just hit the link in the description. There was also a video, a live performance filmed at Tool Studio. There's a link in the description for that as well, along with lots of pictures and links to other cool things as well. So thank you, Peter, for being on the show. Thank you, listeners, and enjoy. Happy birthday, Morton Subotnick. Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spiral Out Podcast.
Oh, I sound good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
hear that? The big vocal box, the resonation.
How come you didn't do more radio?
Many people say that, and I always tell them, "Fuck you."
We're here today talking to Peter Grenader, right? I said that right again?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a new project coming out
Yes.
for Morton Subotnick.
That's it. 2 points.
Nice. Who is one of the originators of the big synthesizers.
No, kind of.
Kind of.
He is Morton Subotnick. For those who don't know about him, look him up. He is considered one of the premier American composers of the 20th century. He cut his teeth. Well, he started as a clarinetist, symphony level, professional symphony level, orchestra level clarinetist, which is, no small feat. And he made a name for himself globally as a composer of electronic music. So he's one of the forefathers of electronic music after it went to the age of synthesizers.
So before synthesizers, he was doing all the craziness.
What they used to do before synthesizers is guys used to make friends with people that worked in radio stations.
Sure.
And when the radio station was closed for the evening, they go in the lab and use their oscillators and filters. And interesting, there's a thing called an envelope generator, which shapes sound. Okay. I showed you what the low-pass gate does, and you use usually an envelope generator to do that automation. Okay.
Gotcha.
And there's 4 phases. Well, let's say, for easy, there's 2 phases: attack, and how long you want that attack to be, how long it fades in, and decay.
Okay.
Back before the synthesizer days, when you wanted that long attack or long decay, you would have to cut it with magnetic tape or do it manually.
Ugh. I don't understand the science of how, but it seems tedious.
It's very tedious. Well, look, when computer music started, when I was in the 70s, when I got into synthesizers, the digital music was there, but you couldn't hear it in real time. You were literally coding and then execute the program, and you'd hear what you just did. Talk about tedium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you and 4 other gentlemen.
No, it's my yodeling pickle.
Okay.
3 gentlemen, 1 lady.
Okay. So you 3.
Jill Fraser, Shiro Fujioka, Thomas Klepper, and myself.
All got together because Morton Subotnick is turning 90 years old. and you're putting together this piece of music, all done on electronically.
Yeah, Mort was one of the first composers to be signed to a major label specifically to do electronic music. It was Nonsuch, which, along with Deutsche Grammophon, was probably the two, and Angel, maybe Columbia Masterworks, were the four big classical labels in the world. There's people that actually listen to some of them, going to be rolling their eyes at what I just said, but and he was commissioned by a record company to do these pieces. The first one was the first one was okay. It was back in the day of experimentation, so everyone was transfixed by the novelty of electronic music instruments, not so much. So you get away with a lot, or you can get away with something that's undercomposed in a traditional sense. But as time progressed, I suppose this happened, the same thing when a saxophone was invented. People got tired of the novelty, and it's like, show me the beef, right? So his first piece was called Silver Apples of the Moon, and many people, that's the only one they've listened to, and they love it, but it's,
It's just okay to you.
Yeah. Then it was followed by Wild Bull. Then things started to get real interesting. He did a piece called Touch, and this is while he was still in New York at NYU. But I went into last weekend the relationship between Morton Subotnick and the instrument maker Donald Buchla.
Yes.
Okay. So if anyone's ever heard of Wendy Carlos, who to this day I believe still has the best-selling classical album of all time, Switched on Bach.
Okay.
She's a friend of mine, by the way. Recluse, a wonderful lady, though. She was signed by, what label was it? Columbia, maybe? To do realizations of Bach's music, starting off mostly with the clavier, well-tempered clavier two-part pieces on a Moog synthesizer, and she became, it was a sensation. People go crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And she was very, very important to Moog synthesizers because of that. He sold a shit pot of them, including Brian Wilson, including Mick Jagger, including the Beatles. They had a Moog on Abbey Road, which was one of the early uses of synthesizer in rock music, okay? Then there's that famous Lucky Man solo by Keith Emerson and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Well, Subotnick became Don Buchla's Wendy Carlos. Don Buchla was the manufacturer of the synthesizer he used to use, still does actually. But the difference is, a Moog is a what comes up, may come down kind of musical instrument. A Buchla is a what goes up may go sideways kind of instrument. It's very esoteric. It doesn't even have a black and white keyboard. It has a touch plate that you can use to trigger events or change the pitch of something. You can assign that to any parameter, but pitch along with it. But it's not in black and white like a piano keyboard. They're linear.
Yeah.
His
doesn't have
ethos was, you want a clarinet, hire a fucking clarinet player. You can make the sound of a clarinet on this thing, but why should you? So it forced a whole different pathos. Music was different that was made through it, and arguably some would say it's not even music. Okay. So,
what you're explaining to me kind of sounds like the difference between somebody playing a guitar and somebody playing a chaos pad almost.
Yeah. So his first three works were done on Buchla's first system, which was called a Buchla 100, and then during that time he was developing the second generation, the Buchla 200. And that's Sidewinder, which is the piece that we're doing live, or we did live, is the first piece of music ever recorded with a Buchla 200. And that was the one that was supposed to go to Cal Arts. The Cal Arts building wasn't done yet. So it got delivered to Mort's home, and he was very slow on coughing it up after the school was finished.
I
but
bet.
yeah, but that was the reason I went to Cal Arts. The long bout answer is I got involved with electronic music in high school. I was fortunate to go to a school that had a very brilliant music teacher who had a course on that, and he started off, playing Six Wives of Henry VIII, Rick Wakeman and Yes, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, synthesizer music that was easy to digest, of course, Wendy Carlos. And then one day he dropped a needle on Subotnick and my fucking head exploded. And while he was playing this record to the class, they passed the cover around and I saw a picture of the 200 and I was like, I want to have that. And then I read that he was at the California Institute of the Arts, and by serendipitously, I applied right in the nick of time, and I was accepted. That was it.
So when was the first time you met him?
I didn't meet him. He had the greatest arrangement in the world at Cal Arts. He was only there. Cal Arts is in a 3-term system, 3 semesters, which sounds really weird. The hard part is you have a midterm or a final like every 6 weeks. It's a pain in the ass. It's a very hard education. It's not an easy school for music anyway. So he was only there the last term. So I met him in the spring of my first year.
Did you maintain a relationship?
Yeah, we're still friends now. In fact, I just sent him a birthday wish.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what does that relationship look like for a God? I mean, what was it been 30 years?
No, longer than that.
40 years? 50 years?
By the way, just for reference, that's a Buchla 200, and you can imagine how wowed I am. That thing is cool looking, right?
Yeah.
And it's massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. No, I graduated in 78. It's been a long motherfucking time. I'm old, dude.
Yeah. So let's say 76 then you met him?
76. So it was, what is that, 52 years?
Yeah, you know the man 52 years.
Or something like that.
Have you done what has he done
Well, so he's done a lot of stuff continually. He recently announced he retired. He announced this about 15 years ago, and I talked to him the day after, and he goes, I didn't mean it. Can I take it back? I'm like, dude, it's in the LA Times. Okay, yes, you can take it back. I'll tell you that if it makes you feel better.
Yeah. You can make whatever music you want.
But he went on to a brilliant career. He went from Nonsuch to Columbia Masterworks. He went to another subset of Columbia Records after that. I'll show you some of his work when we're done. I mean, he recently did an opera called Jacob's Room, which about his second boy. I went to junior high school with his son. I didn't even know it. His first son, Stephen. And it had a stage with the performers on it that was hydraulic and MIDI controlled.
Gotcha.
So he could move it at angles. And the first project I did with him at Cal Arts was something not as cool as that, but it was a multimedia piece that was pretty friggin' cool that I was asked to write music for, which was, how scary is that, writing music for Mort to use, incidental music for him to use in an NEA commission? That was a big friggin' deal. The NEA being National Endowments of the Arts. It's very hard to get one of those grants. The government gives you money to write a piece of music.
It seems abstract.
And it's a lot of red tape and a lot of politics to get approved.
So then I'm going to ask my original question that I asked. Other than his album Blowing Your Mind, and then you going to Cal Arts specifically to work with him and use Buchla. What was so alluring about the sound?
Well, the sounds were not pretty. There was timbrely, as far as the basic sound, there's basically nothing that the Buchla could do that the Moog couldn't, but the Buchla was able to control sound in a way that Moog never even saw.
And by control, you mean all aspects of the sound.
Yeah. For instance, the Moog is a mono instrument. The Buku's fucking quad, okay? It was designed for 4 speakers, so you can sit in the middle and have a sound spin around all 4 speakers, and you can control that spin completely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, so the thing about Mort's music is it's, how do you put it? I mean, his second album is called Wild Bull, and that encapsulates his energy. It's always bravado, and he's just a master of it. He's like a testament to intelligent sound. And, yeah. So anyway, he turned 90. And
so you got together with these 3 individuals and one lady?
His wife called me. Interesting. I was standing there when he met his wife. She was a kind of a celebrity in new music. Also, her name's Joan LaBarbera. She has a very unique singing style. There was a big music happening at CalArts' gathering, and there were some very famous composers there, Milton Babbitt, Vladimir Yukochevsky, John Cage. I mean, you don't even know the genre. You probably heard of John Cage.
Nope.
Okay, John Cage is also on the list of top 10 composers of the 20th century, and he lived in Woodstock. He was old and getting frail at the time, and Joan lived in New York City, and she came out, kind of escorted him.
Gotcha.
And they were, it was so surreal. It's, that painting of George Washington crossing the Potomac? It was sort of one of those moments. At the time, I said, you'll never forget this. It was Subotnick with Yukochevsky and Milton Babbitt, and then walking into the foyer of the music school was Joan and John Cage. I was like, whoa.
Sounds like a Mount Rushmore of...
Exactly. Good analog. And I saw the way Joan and Mort looked at each other, and
how old was he at the time?
He was 45, 46, and she didn't go back with John. She stayed here. So anyway,
good for Subotnick.
Yeah. Oh, she was. Well, she still is lovely, but she was hot when she was like this means nothing to young people. I don't know. Taylor Swift, is she considered good looking?
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
My reference would be Grace Slick. She was like the Grace Slick of
I don't get that reference either.
Music.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay. But she contacted me to tell me there was this party in Brooklyn. It's this Sunday. You're welcome to come. She kind of had an idea I wasn't going to fly across country for this. But she says, we're accepting works or recorded messages to play at this thing. I said, are you giving me, are you telling me to do this? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, I was all on this. I had been wanting to do a live version of Sidewinder for like 6 years. Jill Fraser and I, who we worked together a lot. Matter of fact, Jill's daughter took one of the puppies that I just fostered.
Gotcha.
There's a irrelevant detail that no one needed to have, but she and I were on it. So what I did is it's a 40-minute piece. I'm not going to torture people for that long. And this party, let's call it, has an 8-minute video limit. They let me go to 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Well, our piece is I boiled it down to about 17 minutes. Sidewinder is a part one, part two thing, because this is written for records, and you have side 1 and side 2.
Sure.
Okay, and in this piece is very symmetrical, meaning side 1 and side 2 are almost the same content, but they're done differently. They both have the same intro movement. They both have the same B section. They both have the same coda at the end, but they're just approached that differently. This is a classical Mort thing, okay? And we're doing a sub-edit of part 1 only that's going to be presented at this party. And then same day, Sunday, it's hitting the internet, the whole 17 minutes.
So I'm hoping by the time you get that out online, we can put the link, so that people can listen to exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And not only that, we'll have I'll post pictures of the synth and all the stuff we talk about. Hopefully, I'll find pictures of him and his wife.
I can show you some pictures of when we did it. So here comes my tool connection. Danny Carey's a huge Subotnick freak. And I mean, when Danny, I think he has most respect in the world of musical instruments, and second respect to musicians, and third respect level is dogs, okay? And so he has immense respect for what Mort was doing, and he owns a Buchla 200. So here's the deal. Danny and I are really close. I have two of his synthesizers in my studio right now. He has a big API recording console, 2488. It was actually owned by Rick Smith.
Yeah.
Rick James,
yeah.
For Super Freak was done on that. He would probably let me take that out of the studio, but the Buchla doesn't leave.
Gotcha.
That's the only one. It's like if there was a string attached, that's it. So we elected to do the recording of the four players in that studio. I got Tim to move that massive leather couch out. Took 3 people. The thing is heavy, and it opened up this big area, and it fit perfectly. We had an empty pit in the middle for the guy with the camera to go in and get ECUs.
So what synth did you use during the recording?
I used my Eurorack modular, the one you saw me on. That's the same one that I used to manufacture Plan B and now Ear Goods, and basically that's why Danny Carey approached me. It's a little bit over 10 years ago now to do the toolbox synth that they use live. Matter of fact, coming up this March, March happened.
Yeah, March.
I don't know what, maybe March or May. It was an M month. They went to Australia 10 years ago, and that was the first time the toolbox hit the stage.
Gotcha.
So I need to text Danny about that because he loves that nostalgia. He loves it. Yeah. So we did in his room, and we did live, but we did multiple takes, and we have a guy editing it together. It's not everyone thinks it's a live stream. It's not. It's going to be much more polished than that.
Yeah. So when you record, when you're recording this, what do you record into?
We recorded through that beautiful multi-channel API board on the Pro Tools, and then another parallel to that was the camera.
You're the first guest that's been on the show twice.
That's cool.
Which I appreciate. And for those that don't know, Peter just touched on it. He built Danny Carey's original toolbox synthesizer over 10 years ago that he's been using on stage since.
Right.
And without giving too much away, you're continuously building new sounds for him.
Yeah.
For different live shows and whatnot that have happened or may happen. And you've also...
Well, I can't talk about may happen, but I know the answer to that.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But you've also done a significant amount of work to be able, on their last album for Inoculum, to be able to receive a gold record.
Yeah. That was very cool. I did... it was a pretty good day. I was filmed for a documentary one morning here in my home, and I was going to take the guys out to lunch, and I get a call from Justin Chancellor, who, he calls every once in a while, and he's extraordinarily funny. It's always 3 a.m. He's working on music. Hey, mate, what do you think of this? And he holds his phone up to speakers, shit like that. And he says, can you come into the studio today? Yeah, sure. What time? Now. So they were recording Chocolate Chip Trip, and that was basically my patch.
Sure.
So I had to get it ginned up, and that was a really fun day. I didn't get home till late. Dakota, I brought the dogs in. There's the A&M Studio D, which is Holy Ground. That's where Carole King did Tapestry. That's where the Rolling Stones did Give Me Shelter.
Gotcha.
It's just like, what?
Yeah.
A&M is at the old Chaplin Studios. and there's like walking into where the studios are. It's either film studios on one side or recording studios on the other. There's a sidewalk, and it was like Gremlin's Chinese theater with the handprints and the feet, but it's Charlie Chaplin, and Dakota lifted his leg on that. That was
and
pretty
Pete
cool.
on it.
Yeah. If those of you don't know, that's one of my dogs.
I'll post pictures of the dogs too. So the big track you worked on was Chocolate Chip Trip, like
Yeah.
using all your patches.
And I mentioned this in the first podcast, but it's worth repeating. Everyone thinks there's some mythical name, context behind that name. Sorry to disappoint. It's very shallow, but funny. It's not a type of LSD. It's nothing about chips implanted in people. A&M Records used to supply a big bowl of chocolate chip cookies and leave them in the control room, and that's all everyone was eating, and we were basically all getting sugar high. Okay, so that's Chocolate Chip Trip.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So again, you built or worked on that album specifically and that track specifically, and then every time he does it live, he's using your patches, and he's constant. I wouldn't say constantly, but whenever he does need you, he calls you and you tweak things and work on it and build more patches. And for that work, they gave you a gold, like an official gold record.
Yeah, and there's a great story. But one, Danny Carey is the greatest guy in the world. He never, if he says he's going to do something, even if it becomes difficult, he'll make sure he does it because he said he was going to do it. He's never disappointed me. He's never let me down. So I showed up working with him in 2011. They were rehearsing new music for Fear Inoculum already. 4 days a week, noon to 4, in that studio that we recorded this piece. It was unrelenting. Unless, someone was on vacation or they were on tour or someone had a cold, they were meeting every Monday through Thursday. And you just went to the Seagull Men concert?
Yeah.
When that record was recorded, I don't know, how long ago was that?
The Seagull Men one?
Yeah.
I don't even
4 years?
Yeah.
I was invited to the listening party.
Sure.
And Danny and Justin was there. And Justin just looked at me and he said, "We're going to the studio on Monday, mate." And I was like, "What? Mm-hmm. You're finally?" I mean, no one thought this were going to happen. And next time I was with Danny, I said, maybe before that, I said, "Danny, listen, if you need," because I know he puts electronic in,
samples and little,
or just
whatever.
Just they have little intermission music between their pieces on most of their albums.
Yeah.
I said, if you want anything, if I can be of assistant, I kind of planted the seed.
Yeah.
Well, he remembered that. So when they recorded, he remembered that. And then it was about 6 or 7 months after it was released. COVID hadn't started yet. And he mentioned, first thing he mentioned before the record came out, he said, "By the way, you're on the thank yous." I was like, "Really?"
Yeah, that's awesome.
First thing I thought about was all my ex-girlfriends. One of whom which I know is a Tool fanatic.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, suck on that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happened. And then he mentioned that, and Adam said to me, "You don't know how many people we took off that list." And he buried his foot in the ground and said, "Grenader's staying on."
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's hard to think about, in my opinion, there's 4 people in that band, right? They're composing the music and everything. If I had to think of anybody else, there's only a handful of people that I think seriously contributed to any of the other songs other than the 4 members. It's like Henry Rollins did something in Undertow. Yeah. And, you got some samples here and there. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else.
There's another electronic piece that another guy worked on that.
Yeah,
I actually wish I gotten that one, but, I'll take what I can get on. But
There's like the Message to Harry Manback where they use some dude's answering machine call, and then it's kind of just you there. I mean, there's not many people that are you can pick out where we're like, I know it wasn't just them.
Yeah. And something that was frustrating is the tour after that, Danny's like, "Okay, we got to get a new patch going." So I got some new modules in there, and we really blew apart the capabilities of that machine. And I'm like, fuck, it would have been so much better on the record. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Because you pretty much, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but you pretty much rebuilt the thing for.
Well, I rebuilt it a year ago.
Yeah.
And I quadrupled the capabilities. At the time that record was recorded, and he was doing Chocolate Chip Trip with that synth for 5 years before that. He was capable of about 3 voices at once, three separate sounds. After that, we got it up to about 5, 6. Now you can do 12 individual voices at once.
Yeah.
But it means that every show will be completely different.
Yeah,
Not completely different. I mean, it's the same form, but he's got a lot of options.
And when you're watching him do this on stage, do you know exactly what he's doing? So, because I don't think a lot of people do. I mean, I have some idea he's taking a sound and he's manipulating it, and it's creating it's creating a time signature.
Yeah.
And then he's adding to that time signature, and then he sits down and does drum solo over it.
Yeah.
But you built the sounds that he's putting.
Yeah. And there's always nuance in it. It's never a carbon copy.
Yeah.
And you got to hand it to him because, I mean, they tour a lot, dude, and it's got to be tedious, but he always, and he said, it was so funny when he did the Staples Center about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more than that. I don't know.
It was 2020.
He said, I was so nervous because I knew you're out in the audience. I'm like, oh, come on. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It seems wild to feel like that guy's nervous. He didn't seem nervous last night. And I went to that Prime show last night, and you're pretty close to most of the people that played there. It seems like.
Oh, I've never met the Primus guys,
but Tim Dawson.
Oh yeah, Dawson's brother.
Jimmy Hayward, Danny Carey.
Yeah,
those are all good friends.
You're goofballs. Yeah.
And the only reason I want to touch on that is because they're, it was a benefit for him.
Yeah, he's frighteningly intelligent. Mm-hmm. I mean, when he enters the room, the smartest man in the room has just entered, and he's very witty and very funny, and he thinks at 1,000 miles an hour. Did you ever see that commercial for the pedal with Justin as the elf?
Yeah,
he did that.
Yeah.
He also did Freebird. He also did Cyrus Rex, Jonas Rex.
Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no,
Jimmy.
I mean, he's done a ton. I've looked up his IMDb.
Oh, the film companies are like, here's a $70 million. Make a movie about a doorknob. We trust you. Yeah.
But he's done music videos and all that madness. But it was a fun show last night.
Very soon, if not just, this recording and this video of Morton Subotnick's Sidewinder is going up. And it's also, at the same time, the audio only is going to be available on Bandcamp. It was a real labor of love. I've wanted to do this for fucking years. I did the score. What I did is I got the piece, which is 40 minutes long, and needled it down to about 16, 17 minutes. And then I kind of delved what he did out to 4 parts, knowing each individual can be responsible for X number of sounds. Let's make it easy on everyone so they can go from section to section and change sounds, and it's not going to give them a aneurysm. And
so how many sounds is each person in?
Most of them are doing 7. I stuck one guy with 8.
Gotcha.
And the way it kind of worked is that you saw the synthesizer. It looks like a bale of spaghetti with all those cables. That was all one patch. And I had other patches that I had done that I sampled, and I had a sampling module in there, so I was just pressing them. It's impossible to do everything real time.
Do you get the music beforehand? Are you like taking out like the written version of his piece of music?
You mean the score?
Yeah,
there's no score.
Oh, okay.
I made a score.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not tonally based. I mean, every sound has a pitch, but this is not what he's about. So it's much more sound sculpture.
So you have to like sit there and kind of like almost like you're looking at a like you said, a sculpture, and
Yeah.
you're trying to mold it.
I would think more. I think
similarly.
a better analog is an abstract painting.
Yeah.
But yes, and we
You're like, I need some red over here a little
yeah.
bit. I need a little bit of blue on this corner over here.
And I had a general rule. We either very closely mimicked his sounds,
Sure.
or we were more interpretive. If we mimicked the sounds, we would take his section, and we'd move it into our own direction. We would change the way he did things. Mm-hmm. If we used interpretive sounds, we kind of mimicked exactly the progression he did. So his gestalt. So that kind of gave it some underpinning rules. Okay.
I hear you.
Anyway, so that's going to be up on. It's going to go up on the stroke of midnight on Sunday, on the 23rd of April, 2020.
And it's going to be played at his birthday.
At his birthday thing.
Now, do you have any desire to continue working with these people?
Well, I've worked with Jill. We did a record together, which you can link to, called the Zizek Society.
Yeah.
6 years ago, it was a really fucking good record. But the thing is, it's, you have to have an ear for experimental electronic music, right?
I mean,
I put the whole thing down for 25 years. I was shocked when I got back into it that it hadn't become popular. After the explosion and acceptance of world music and NPR and all that shit. And the problem is that electronic music disappeared into academia, and those guys fuck up anything that's good. Okay?
You're saying nerds?
Yeah, and it just didn't catch hold. But Sidewinder particularly is very meditative.
Sure.
So I think like yoga people would like it. The thing is, Mort's, I want to touch upon one thing that we talked about. I forgot to finish. What's he done lately? He's become like the grandfather of electronica. He actually tours. He's stopped now. I mean, he's 90.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And he does a live thing, and the room is full of 20, it's Gen Zs. I mean, and they're fucking loving it. So, and he doesn't understand it, but he doesn't question it either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his legacy. He probably feels good about it.
Yeah, I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
People are coming to hear your music, whether or not you understand why. I mean, there's your other connection to Tool. Maybe on some level they don't understand why they're selling out arenas,
Yeah.
Maybe they do, but
It's because they're into witchcraft.
I'm telling you, it's all the sacred geometry. So yeah, this Sunday, again, are you going to be doing anything else afterwards?
Oh, yeah. So I work with Jill separately. Then I work with Shiro Fujioka in another ensemble, live electronic ensemble. We did a short tour about 4 years ago and played a place in Berkeley called Tom's Place. It's pretty famous. Some huge artists have performed there. Well, it's in a guy's living room. It's in their house, but it's quaint and intimate, and it's got a name. So we have gotten an invitation to do Sidewinder live in the fall. Gotcha. I don't know if Thomas Klepper will be involved, but definitely Shiro and Jill and I. And we'll make it an hour-long set, so we'll do some other stuff too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's going to be in the fall sometime.
Yeah.
And do you ever consider getting these people together to do multiple shows?
Yeah, no, it's so much fucking work. Why do one? It's stupid. So I'm talking to this other club up there. I put some feelers out. The problem with electronic music, it's all intertwined with academia. So it's like, well, where do you have tenure? It's like, fuck you, dude. I mean, listen, CalArts has a theater downtown in the Disney Hall. You know where that is?
Yeah.
Called Red Cat, the Roy and Ed Disney Red CalArts Theater, Red Cat. And when I was asked to do a show there in 2007, they didn't even promote us. I was so pissed off. At the time, print was still kind of alive, and they wouldn't run an ad for this event in LA Weekly. I was like, what are you doing? Well, we sold the place out.
Sure.
And they added 10 rows, and we sold it out. And then they were coming to me the day of the performance saying, we're still getting calls, you want to do a second show. Well, they turned out we said, okay. And they said, you can keep all the money from the second show. Well, they elected not to do it because there was another show the next day, and they would have to break down and set up. Anyway, that was kind of their comeuppance, right?
Sure.
They didn't even support this because we weren't anyone, but we sold the friggin' thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be so much work. I'm going to try to land us some more gigs up there.
I feel like it's also hard to do live gigs with these because the instruments are so gigantic.
It's a pain in the ass, but and I bring the dogs with me, so it's like Motel 6 because they allow dogs. It's so funny, Chris. Every Motel 6 hotel room looks the same.
Yeah.
So they think it's a safe place. It's like, we're at home. Okay. They jump up in the bed and they're fine. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I'm gonna post a picture with the episode of your dogs if you don't mind.
And about to get a third dog.
Yeah.
Taking a rescue. If anyone wants a beautiful border collie, I'm gonna have them by the end of the day.
Any other final news? Any other?
Should I do it?
Yes, do the pickle.
You got to take a picture of this now.
I will. I have to. Peter, you've been a good friend to me literally since the day we started talking. I can't appreciate, but I won't. No, I can't thank you enough for continuing to come on the podcast and continuing to show me cool stuff and just be involved.
All right. I appreciate that. Consider it back.
Yeah. And again, look for Peter on Facebook, and then he's going to be releasing the Morton Subotnick Sidewinder.
Yeah, go to the Peter Grenader channel, which I'm sure you all follow anyway, just kidding, on YouTube. That's where the video is going to be posted. There's a couple of media sites that are going to present that. Listen, the trail is blowing up. We got like 1,300 hits. I mean, that's, there's some artists that got 1,300 hits that jump up a building. I am elated with that sort of penetration. So, and also on Bandcamp, there'll be links, I guess, in the podcast.
Yeah, there will be. My biggest episode was a April Fool's episode that didn't have the real guests. So if you can get 1,300 views with actual content, congratulations.
Yeah, you had Maynard-ish. Yeah.
I had not Maynard.
Right.
So thank you, Peter.
Did people get pissed at that?
Some people.
Yeah.
And
Tool people are freaky. I mean, I still have people that contact me on Messenger.
Yeah.
They kind of want to nuzzle close to me because I walk in Danny Carey's foot dust kind of thing, and they're pretty intense, those guys.
Yeah, there's some people that were aggravated. Some people got the joke. I just told everybody the same thing. Nobody's more mad than me that he wasn't on the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
that's our cue.
Yeah, that's our cue.
All righty. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Peter. Spiral Out Podcast is produced by me, your host, Chris West, edited by me, researched by me. Everything is pretty much just done by me. Go to our website, spiraloutpod.podbean.com. Follow us on Instagram at spiral_out_pod. Facebook, Spiral Out Podcast. And again, if you want to see some of the images associated with this episode, click the link in the show notes and it'll take you there. Again, thank you for listening. Spiral Out. Pod dismissed. Wait, that's another show.